Well, I'm starting to understand why Sutton said that her wallet was bigger than Dorit's a few episodes back. Because boy, oh boy, does Dorit have some explaining and paying to do, apparently. We need to talk about this one.
Georgia says, quick tea, quick tea, quick tea.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to an all new YouTube video from yours truly, Giorgio Says. Before we get into the video, though, please help me in hitting like on this video, comment your thoughts down below, and if you're not subscribed, I hope you will be after watching. But yes, we need to talk about the drama that keeps following Dorit Kemsley, and quite honestly, I feel like she asked for this one. And look, if you guys have been following my recaps this season specifically, I've been rooting for Dorit. I'm very much here for this like sparky sassiness that we're getting from her because, she's dealing with a lot. But it seems that there was some issues. Now let's take it back just a second because I want to be clear so that we're not mixing up what's going on. So I think it was maybe a couple weeks back at this point, Tracy from Million Dollar Listing, which is I don't believe they're doing that show anymore. But anyways, she was on that show. She was on Jeff Lewis. Dorit came up in conversation. She alluded to the fact that Dorit allegedly scans her Instagram feed to see what glam she uses so that she can go and use the same glam essentially. And if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I believe that. I do. Like, I could totally see Dorit sitting on her bed on a Sunday morning, just scrolling through Tracy's feed, being like, who did her makeup here? Who did her hair here? Anyways, she at some point really loved Chris Dillon, who, if you're not familiar with Chris Dillon, he has done so many Hollywood celeb and socialites hair through the years. He's even been featured on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We just saw him maybe a few episodes back doing Dorit's hair, and then we also have seen him doing Kathy Hilton's hair. So he's been around the block. He understands how to run his business for the most part. And so we had this issue where Tracy was basically calling Dorit out for not paying her bills. And what she was referring to was her glam team. And she didn't specify who on her glam team, but then they threw the name out, Chris Dillon, and people can put two and two together. Now, I'm not sure what Dorit was thinking when she went on Watch What Happens Live just recently. And it's one thing if you're going to call someone out because they're lying on you or they're trying to use you for clout or they're trying to make something off the top, if you will. It just didn't seem that way, especially because Tracy was the one saying it, not Chris. Because I honestly don't think Chris would have said anything publicly because who wants to deal with that? In the like you're a hairstylist to the celebs. Like, you're supposed to be trustworthy. You're supposed to be the vault because you're in a lot of the moments that they don't necessarily want everyone around for. They're getting ready. You see them with wet hair. So he probably wouldn't have said anything, but Tracy, I guess, was, she's sick of Dorit, clearly. And she just said, she doesn't pay her bills. So Dorit then is on Watch What Happens Live and then says basically that this hairstylist, Chris Dillon, essentially used her credit card without her permission. Well, as soon as you say that, it looks like fraud. It looks like stealing, theft, whatever you want to call it. So that was that. She was like, well, that's going to put that to bed. That'll show him. Well, that didn't show him. I mean, it did, but what it made him do was then get up the next day and make what was almost a 9-minute TikTok. Now, I'm not going to make you guys watch the entire 9 minutes because I'm going to give you an overview. We are going to watch some clipped down parts, about a minute and a half, but where he's going to give you the gist. But essentially, he had all the receipts to back up his side. He explained everything thoroughly. He didn't leave anything out, and everything lined up. So I'm also hearing that since that point, his invoice has been paid, but essentially it took him 4 months of asking to get his money from Dorit, and it all stems from her asking him to stay 4 more days in New York City, I believe, for when she was doing some press. And she offered to pay the hotel stay, which is pretty standard in that situation. And in doing so, he had to go through an arm and a leg to get the hotel to authorize her credit card for his reservation, because obviously she wasn't there. But anyways, we will get into that video really quick, because I believe he does explain that piece, and then we'll come back. All right, let's take a listen to what Chris Dillon had to say.
Accused on Watch What Happens Live by Dorit Kemsley of using her credit card without her permission to pay for a hotel room as well as invoice for the full amount, and I'm here to chat about it. It's completely out of my character to come to social media and discuss an issue like this, but after it was made so publicly last night on national television and all over our community this morning, I felt like I had no other option but to come on here and speak my truth and give you a little backstory. Dorit offered to pay for my hotel room for the duration of our stay, which was 3 nights, 4 days. She offered to send over her credit card so I could extend my stay. However, the hotel we were staying at needed a credit card authorization form filled out since she wasn't there to do it in person. Here's our first text of the morning, and at the top you could see that I'm letting her know that I extend my stay till the 14th and that she would need to fill out the credit card authorization form in order for it to be processed. And then I also said if she just wanted to send me a photo of her credit card, I could do it myself to make it easier for her, not knowing that it would require a digital scan of her ID to be processed into the website in order for it to be complete. We heard the whole thing, and Dorit basically just gave me the runaround, berated me, gaslit me, let me know that she thought that I was lying about everything. It was basically my word against hers, which that's how it goes when stuff is not in writing. I totally understand that now, and even went to the point of asking me if I was coherent or right in the head, and ended the phone call by saying that my balance will be paid in full and that we would never be working together again, and hung up on me. I think after hearing that conversation and seeing how shaken up I was about it, this is when Tracy Tudor stepped in and felt like she was compelled to defend me when she went onto a radio show and discussed Dorit and her non-payment.
Wow. So, as you heard, he basically explains that, it was a mix up. The hotel seemingly, I guess, charged Chris's credit card for the full hotel stay rather than Dorit's, even though they went through the whole getting the pre authorization form done and whatnot. And so, what Chris realized was when he looked at his statement was, oh, they actually billed me for the entire stay. He just added that expense to get reimbursed for whatever else he was getting reimbursed for during that trip. And this is when things, I think, get a little bit mixed up, in the sense that, because, and we've heard this in the past, where it's like people have to fight tooth and nail to get paid from Dorit, okay? But I guess 4 months, she picked something that seemingly was the easiest thing to grab, which was the hotel. Instead of using his credit card for his own personal incidentals or service charges, they added those to Dorit's card. So she used that as he used my card without permission. He obviously didn't know that and would not have let that be the case, just like what happened with his credit card. The hotel charged his card instead of Dorit's. Things like this happen if you stay at hotels. Things like this absolutely happen. That's why you're supposed to check everything before you leave. Nonetheless, I feel like her going to Watch What Happens Live and professing this in such a loud way, and then for him to come on and create almost a 9-minute video with more, I mean, that was just a third of it. He gives every single receipt in detail, okay? So, look, I know Dorit's got a lot going on, but listen, even though I may be rooting for her during this season, I am not rooting for anyone that's not going to pay their vendors or pay their bills. So hopefully that's all settled, but I'm pretty sure these two happily will not be working together, which is a shame because Chris does some really damn good hair. Okay. Did you see his hair, by the way? Hello. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Did Dorit take it too far? Was he lying? Was she lying? Either way, he got paid in the end, but we'll never know, I guess. Anyways, until the next video, guys, I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.